Thank you for joining me today. Let me just make sure I've got the right setup here and that you can hear me okay. And I've got the screen in front of me so I can see the live chat. But yes, welcome along to the workshop. Today we're going to be... Oh, let me turn the sound off. Apologies. So we're going to be making the light up igloo card today, which is this lovely card. I'm calling this the showstopper of this year's Christmas range. It's got lights on, so it's got LED lights built into the card, which can be switched on and off. It's quite bright in here today, so it's difficult to see, but it has a lovely effect when it's on a dark mantelpiece on those Christmas nights. So let me say hello and welcome. So I'll explain who I am and what we'll be doing today. So my name is Della. I created Della by Design, and I design stamps. So all the images we're using today are designed digitally by me, and then they're manufactured into clear photopolymer stamps. So all these range is from the Playful Penguins set. So you've got the giant igloo on there. So this is available to order online to the UK, US and Australia at the moment. And we have, so each time, so I design the stamps, and I also design a range of cards that you can use the stamps to make. So you'll feel free to, if you've got the stamps, to just create your own designs. What I also do is sell the DIY kits to make these specific cards as well. So we've got them all the pieces prepped for you, which is quite handy. The delay seems to be getting later and later every time I do a live video. But yes, if you are watching along live, do say hello in the chat and let me know where you're watching from, or if you're catching up with the replay, please say hello there as well, because I think the comments are different there, but I'll be able to see them when they pop up. So do say hello, and if you've got any questions during this workshop, feel free to add them in there, and I'll either get back to you live or I'll respond to your comment as soon as I can. So, right, this is going to be quite a long workshop, I think. So we are going to take this at a very leisurely pace. Basically, I'm making this card at the same rate as you. So I'm going to be making it from the advanced kit version, which has all the pieces stamped, ready to go. But we'll be cutting them in, cutting them out, and then assembling them into the card. If you've got the beginner's kit, which has all the pieces already coloured and cut out for you, then if you're watching the replay, you'll be able to skip forward a bit to then watch how we assemble the card. Or the third option for this design is the expert kit, which has the stamps and all the cardstock you need to make this card. So if you have the expert kit, I want to just run through what you need to stamp. So on some white card or cream, if you're making the craft version, you need to stamp the little and large penguin, the press here button, and then 2 large bulbs and 1 small bulb. 2 lots of the igloo. You don't have to stamp them all completely, you just need the archway for this one, so if you want to do it on the edge of the card you can. And then the green 2 large bulbs and little bulb, which will be turning into trees. So nice and versatile. And then the season's greetings is on just a small strip of card. Try and get that as small as you can. And then the mounts that we need to prep. So we've got the blue card at the back is 5 inches by 5 inches. And then I've got, we're going to cut this into 2 snowy hills. So the main measurement that matters is the 4.5 inches wide. And then we can trim the rest down anyway. And then the same for the sky. So it's got 4.5 inches across, so that gives us a nice border on the blue square. And I've got it as 2 inches, but you can play around with that if you want more sky or less. And the all important lights. So this kit comes with this LED light pack. So it has 3 little bulbs, which we are going to be inserting into the igloo, so they're going to become the bulbs on there. And they're all wired on. When I was experimenting with this idea, I ordered a few different designs of little brands of different LED setups, and one of them literally came as strips of like a copper tape that you built the circuit yourself. And I was like, I'm quite quite geeky in my way, but even that was a bit beyond me. But this one comes all pre-prepared. It doesn't include a battery, and nor do my kits, so you will need to source your own battery. So the battery you need are these little silver disc ones. It's 3V, I think they're all 3V, but the 3V and then CR2016. So I think the numbers relates to how thick they are. So you do need to look for the 2016 version, and then they slots in this here. And what I will say is the first step is to test out a battery with the lights, because there we go, to make sure it's working. Because basically once it's in the cards, we can't access it again to give it a wiggle. So if for any reason the lights don't work, which happened to me when I was designing the card, do take the battery out again, give up and just inspect the battery, see if there's, because the pack that I had is a new one, it had like a safety feature, a little black sticker on the battery, which to be honest I thought was a warning, but it was just a sticker. But actually no, it was blocking it was deliberately there to block any current coming through, so we had to pull that off. Yeah, test out some different batteries and just take it in and out a few times if it doesn't work straight away. So it should have the numbers on the writing on the top as you put it in. If nothing else works, do get in contact. You can email me della@dellabydesign.co.uk, because these are a new product and I haven't been able to test them all before they go out. So yes, so do let me know. Wonderful. So let's get started. So let's remove these bits out of the way. These measurements. I'm just going to stack these up. So the kits will come with all the cardstock and the card and the envelope. So it's a 6x6 card, this one. And there we go. We're going to start off by colouring in the penguins and the Christmas lights. So I've got, actually let's start with the yellow beaks. So the yellow beaks, so I'm using some Pro marker pens, which are alcohol markers, because they give a lovely flat finish and they won't bleed with the ink that I've used. It's a compatible match. So if you're unsure, always test your pens, say probably on the screw cap of the bulb, because we're not going to use that, so you can test it on there to check doesn't react with the ink. And if you haven't got any pens that don't do that, then you can always use colour pencils. It's a safe bet. So, and then we're going to colour in these penguins. So I'm going to colour them in black, so it keeps that sort of cartoon image. What you can do is colour them in sort of a grey scale and have a bit more of a I say more natural penguin. I don't think natural is probably a bit too strong a word, but a different style anyway. So I deliberately kept these stamps as an outline, because many stamps that have got like a big flat area of solid colour, it's quite tricky for them to stamp evenly. They normally get patches and blotchy. So what I've done for this range is I've kept the little ones, I've got them in solid colour, but then the larger ones are outlines. And we get to colour them in, which is fun. like I say, I'll take these demo videos. They're designed to, if you've got the DIY kit to make at home, it means that you can craft at the same time as me. I'm not going to try and rush ahead or have here's one I made earlier type crafting. We're just going to take it at a nice relaxed pace, and you can enjoy a cup of tea and making the cards at the same rate. In fact, I think generally I find, because I'm talking, I get distracted, that you'll probably craft it a bit quicker than I will. Just going to carefully colour in the edges. So you could leave the baby penguin to be in a grey. I haven't got his proper feathers yet. I'm not sure what's happened to the screen I'm watching on the replay is way behind. But I can see the chat function, so I can respond to any of your questions. There we go. That's the penguins. And then what we're going to do is colour in the lights on the igloo. So I'm going to get the igloo white. We did do a card earlier this week that we coloured in all the igloo in different blue tones, which is a lovely effect. But for this one, I wanted to keep it crisp and clear. So we're just going to colour in the lights, and I'm going to copy those. So let's explain this. So the two igloos that we've got, the top igloo has got holes already pre-cut in the stamp on the white pages, so we can put the lights through. So that's the one we're going to use at the back, and then this one at the front we're going to use for the arch. So we're going to colour in all the lights on this one and just the lights at the front for this one. And so I'll colour this one in red. And I'll colour the one in the front. So make sure you colour them in the same pattern, because it's a bit of a mix and match over which one is lights are being shown. So make sure you got the same top and bottom. And then let's do some green. So with the all four, trying to alternate the colours, but generally leaning towards having the red and green because they're a bit more Christmassy. That. And then I've got one blue one. Now the yellow ones, so the yellow ones will actually be the lights once they shine through. However, it's a circle hole over an oval shape. So I recommend just colouring in what you can see of the bulb, just so that when the lights are off, at least you've still got that sort of flash of yellow. Oh, I'm pretty sure that one disappears. We cut that one off, but I'll colour it in anyway. So I'll hold that up so you can see. Go. Just trying to catch up with the live video, or the screen that I'm watching. It's kind of like it's gone into a pause and it's catching up with itself. But yes, I'm back up to speed. There we go. So let's move the pro markers out of the way. We won't need the pens again. And what we're going to do is cut out all these bits and bobs. So I'm going to start with, got a nice sharp pair of small scissors. So I'll start with the largest, or the igloo we're going to keep full size. I'm just going to cut around the outside of the black line. So I'll remove all the white, but I want to keep the black line. So starting with a nice easy shape to start with. And we'll get into the more fiddly ones. Actually, this kit's not too bad. Fiddly cuts. So where we're cutting this out exactly, that's called fussy cutting. You could also do bubble cutting, which is leaving a sort of white space around the outside, so it's a bit quicker and easier. But I really enjoy fussy cutting, so I'm going to cut for this. And if you don't like cutting out, then the beginner's kit would be perfect for you, because the beginner has all the pieces coloured and cut ready, so you're all set to assemble the card together. And you can add extras if you wanted to add extra colouring bits on, you can. There we go. So then for this igloo, I'm just going to cut around the archway. Again, just going for the outside of the black line. Around the curve. Now what we're actually going to do is cut away the inside of the igloo, so it actually looks like there's that the 3D element is going inside. So I'm just going to cut. Oh, I've just thought it'd be so cute if you use that spare bit, this part of the igloo. You could even cut out a few bricks and have them raised up on the one. So that would look very cute. So I'm just going to cut through that red bulb. Actually, could keep that red bulb on. Oh, there's lots of little extras you can do on this kit. There we have it. That's the archway that we're aiming to get, so that we can add that on top. So there's one more bit to do on this one, is so the bulb at the top, which will be the yellow bulb, which will be the light we're putting on, is just hanging into that top bit. And what we need to do is just cut away the card. So you're going to cut away from the inside, and that just gives the bulb a little bit more space, otherwise it's going to get caught behind it. So you just cut that little over out from underneath. Again, so that the version I'm watching is on like a slower, like it's playing it slower. It keeps having to get it to catch up. Right, let me just move these bits out the way. And then we can cut out these. So come back to the bulbs in a sec. So I'm going to cut out the press here button. So feel free to cut, when you're cutting out fiddly things, cut them off of the main sheet so you haven't got too much card to contend with. So the excess card can like drag on the scissors and make it quite tricky to cut. Oh, whereas I've got that. Maybe I've got the light on above me. I'll turn that off so it's not reflecting in there. Alexa, turn off table light.
Okay.
There we go. Cut that out. And then the penguins. So again, cutting around the outside, and I'm keeping the scissors still but rotating the card around. It gives you better control. And so I keep these scissors nice and sharp. If your scissors aren't, if they're dragging a bit on it, so you can quickly sharpen them by using some sheets of tin foil, and you're just snipping through the tin foil sort of like 10-12 times, and you'll get a nice sharper blade. we go. And if you are watching live, thank you for joining me. If you've got the kit at home, because I did send out some of these last week, or at my events markets I've done this year. It's been a popular design. So do say hello in the comments and let me know how you're getting on. And so all my designs and kits, they have written instructions included as well. So if you'd rather not have the video playing, then you can always follow the written instructions and maybe just check in with the video if you get stuck. So just wiggling around all the bits of the image, keeping the black line. Maybe you can bubble cut this one instead if you wish. There we go. And the stamp set comes with a hat and scarf as well, which you can stamp and cut out and add on to these penguins if they're looking a bit chilly. Wonderful. Now next are these bulbs, which I've made some cards this year with the bulbs featuring, but these ones are actually going to be turned into trees. So we're going to cut out the top of the tree, or the bottom of the bulb. Just cut this off of here, and then we're going to keep the cap at the bottom. We're going to keep it as the trunk, but obviously don't need to cut it out very neatly because we're going to be hiding it behind the snowy hills. Chop a bit off at the end. Yeah. So we've got two larger trees and then a little tree as well. So if you've got the stamp set and you want to add more, you can add a nice forest behind them, or you can add some like different tones of greens, would be quite nice. Or if you've got the cozy Christmas stamp set, that's got a Christmas tree in it, so you could mix and match and put the Christmas tree in the background. So I've aimed to keep all the designs this year using just the one stamp set, so that you've got a nice range of cards to be inspired by. Across. So, and then these are white ones. So these are going to be the snowy, the snow on top of the trees. So what I'm going to do is start by just cutting around the black line. Okay, so and what we do, so I'm actually going to turn it over. So it's up to you. You could cut the snow and do it that way, but I'm actually going to flip them over on the other side. So what I'm going to do is cut a swirly pattern on this side. You can draw this with a pencil first, and you won't be able to see it. You can just turn it over. I'm going to do it by eye. There we go. So it's up to you. You could keep it like that. Feels a bit. It looks a bit Mr. Many. I think the Mr. Men books. But I'm actually going to flip it over the other way and have it like that. So snowy topped. I'm going to do the same with these. Okay, and then again, I'm rotating the card but holding the scissors in the same position. Just flatten that out. Lovely. And then the little one. So there's not much space in the little one to make much of a pattern, but just an indication of snow. That's all we need for this one. Okay, just a little up and down. That one. So we've got our snowy trees. So we're going to hide all the trunks, but if you wanted to, you could colour them in brown and have more of them showing. That's up to you. So the next step is to cut our snowy hills. So we've got this sheet of card in your kit, either in white or cream. And basically the width is the right width. So we want to keep that the same, but we're going to trim some hills across. So the first one we're going to do, let me measure that so I know, give you an indication. Obviously you can be a bit more flexible with this. So we're looking at around 3 inches, so it's pretty much in half. So the first one we want to do is a hill halfway along. So again, you can do it with a pencil and then cut along the line. I'm going to do it by eye. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's a bit high. I'll bring it down a little bit. So don't worry if you don't get this just right yet, because obviously I've got the luxury of holding it up against a card. But we can always trim it down once we've got it all laid out and you can see what we got. And then it's up to you. You can either use the curve again, depending on how well, actually that worked out quite well. Or you can just cut a new strip across. And just to point out, the top piece doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to go all the way down to the bottom. So it doesn't matter that it doesn't reach the bottom of the card anymore. So it just needs to be a panel across the top. I'm just going to smooth out that one a bit, make this one a little bit more interesting, and then just want to end the hills coming down rather than up. Awesome. Right, we can change that as we go. So I believe now we are at the stage where you would be for the beginner's kit. The only difference for the beginner's kit from this point, everything is coloured and cut. These hills are cut for you. And I think the only thing different for the beginner's kit is that there's a hole in the middle of this card, but we're not going to do that yet, but we will come on to that. So the next step is to build up our scene. So we're not sticking anything just yet. We need to do some wizardry first. So we've got the sky. So that goes up to an even border on the top and the sides. And then you want the hills in the background. Line them up. And then the hills in the foreground. So I've got, again, I'm looking for an even edge around there. So I want to make these a little bit higher. So depending on how much sky you want, I might want a little bit more sky, I think. And if you're really happy with the curve of your hill and you want to make it shorter, I'm going to use my guillotine. I've got a big one to hand today. I'm going to use my guillotine and I'm going to chop off a chunk off the bottom. So, and this keeps it, rather than just cutting it with a pair of scissors, this keeps it a right angle and a very straight line. So I'm going to lose about that much off the base. So lay it out, that means we can bring that down a little bit and have some more silver sky showing. Okay, so once you're happy with that, that's looking good. And then you can place, if you want to experiment with the trees as well, you can actually, let's glue the trees together because they're definitely going to be together. So let's glue all the snow. I'm going to glue it directly onto the card, so you can use Pritt Stick for this or any like a wet glue. I'm going to use this called Glossy Accents, which is it's not actually a glue, it adds a nice sort of glossy, surprisingly, sheen over the work. So you can do that, you can do little dots on stuff to make it like raindrops, but it works very well as a glue. So I'm going to add some glue to the back of these snow bits. And what I love about this glue is it's very strong, but it stays wet for quite a long time. So you've got time to manoeuvre the card into position before it sticks. But the downside of that is that it's very wet. So if I put these on there now, it would just slide and ooze out the sides. So I'm just going to give it a few seconds before I stick them down. And then we'll get some, I think some foam pads. Let's add the archway on as well. So let me turn these over. Just going to lightly place these now. So we're aiming not to have any of the black line of the tree to show through. So the shape of this means that you can just put the snow slightly higher up. If you're trying to scratch off a little bit of fluff. I've got the glue on my fingers, never mind. Okay, and then this one. Press those down now, the glue's drying. Okay, so we need to add some foam pads. So the back of this archway, we're going to raise it up on foam, so it gives it this lovely 3D effect. This is the card and we've got the lights that switch on and off inside the card. So on the back of this archway, we're going to use some foam pads. So in your kits, you'll have these foam pads, which are double-sided, so they're sticky both sides, and they've got backing paper on them, but they're foam in the middle, so it raises things up. Oh, let me just get my sticky scissors 1 second. And so I have a pair of scissors that are designated to be doing all the sticky work, so that I keep the my other pair nice and sharp. So what we're going to do is actually, I think one side will be fine. So they come in little shapes. Some of them are squares, rectangles, some even circles, depending on where you bought them from. So I'll fit on the edge, make sure it doesn't go over the edge. And then I'm going to cut. Actually, I'm going to cut a long strip. I'm going to cut a thin strip to use on there. So notice that I did that with both backing sheets still attached, and that stops too much of the stickiness going onto the scissors. So I'm going to add that onto the thin part of the archway. I think I just need one more little bit across the top. Okay, and then just peel off the back. Handy having nails for this bit. If not, you can use a craft knife or a pokey tool to get those off. And then what I'm going to do is going to lay it on top of here, and I'm going to line it up with the image that's already there to give it a lovely 3D effect. There we go. So there's our igloo. Right, back to our scene. So let's get this. Now we've got the trees, we can add these in as well. So again, I'll tuck in the patterned bit behind the hill. So at this stage, depending on how once you've got a happy layout, you can take a quick picture so that you can refer back to how it all fits together. That's completely up to you. Then we add the igloo on top. Make sure we've got things lined up. There we go. Now once we've got like that, we're going to need a pencil, which I've just realised I don't have on my table. Let me find my pencil. Well, I found a pen. That will do. Okay, we don't need to, we won't see these lines. So what we're going to do here is remove the igloo, but remember where it is, and then just draw a rough square. Now, I've kept that quite small because I've got a pen, not a pencil. But we'll have to cut it a little bit bigger. So we're aiming for a square about 1.5 inches by 1.5. So I do need it a bit bigger. I'm gonna go with that. And just double check that is covered by this. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is take this top layer and then cut away the square that we've drawn. This is all to help with the construction of the LED lights. That's it. And then lay that back down on top, and then go back to your pencil or pen and then just draw in that layer again. And then we're going to remove this layer. Hang on a sec. Hopefully we shouldn't need to, so just double check that the height of your hills in the background isn't higher than the sides here, higher than the bottom of the square hole. So in which case we don't need any of this section at the bottom. So what I'm actually going to do is cut along this way up into that square. So again, this doesn't need to be neat because it's all going to be hidden away. I need that to work out where that line is. There we go. So I'm going to cut away all of that. And then once again, lay it out on here so that you're happy with the positioning. You can even put the igloo back on just to double check you're all lined up correctly. And then just one more layer, or there will be 2 more layers. Actually, I'll tell you what, I think we can probably mark this one as well. So mark the square onto the blue one as well. And then I'm just going to go for a little bit of a shortcut. Lift that out and measure there. So for the silver one, just going to trim this. So it always depends. So depending on how your hills have gone or how you're positioned with your igloo, this will all be different for everyone. So that's why I've kept it like this, so you can work your way back. I did mention at the start that the beginner's kit has a circle cut out of this blue card. That's so you don't have to do any say difficult cutting, which is what we're going to do now. But you should find that circle is enough. So it will cover this section, and if it doesn't, you just need to cut it a lot slightly bigger, whatever direction you need it in. But for us, if you've got the advanced kit, you've got this block. So I've said what you can do is just pierce it with some scissors and then cut around it. Again, doesn't need to be that neat. I've got a craft knife that I'm just going to cut across this. Actually, I'm just going to cut around roughly. So if you need to, this is a glass craft mat, so it's fine to cut on. Just going to encourage this out. I think it's all cut, just the corners. Come on. There we go. Wonderful. Just for completeness, I'm going to lay it up again so I can make sure I've got everything and remember which way round everything goes. There we go. I think I probably rotated the back panel by one, I think. I'll place that on top. Wonderful. So, take a sip of water. Okay. Right, we're ready to start sticking down these layers. So let's start with the silver sky. So I'm using this, so you can use any glue to stick this down if you're good for paper or card. This is what I call my glue mouse. So it dispenses double-sided tape. So it's just nice and quick and easy. And I'm aiming for a even border on the top and the sides. And then the top hills. Again, you've got the square now, give you a nice indication of how high you want that to be. So I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to stick this down directly on. We've got enough foam pads to add to build up the rest of it, but I'm going to keep this flat. So I'm making sure that this edge is flush with the silver on both sides. And then we're adding the trees. So the trees, you make sure that the glue's dry from your snow. And what we're going to do is gently curve these trees to give them a nice 3D effect. So, oh, I didn't warn you at the start. So it's time to grab your wooden spoons. So you can use, I always say wooden spoon because I know everyone's got a wooden spoon. But if you're using like a pro markers or a big marker, that would work as well. You just need something big, certainly bigger than a pencil. So what we're going to do with the glue, make sure the glue's, so if depending on what glue you've used, it depends on how sort of rough, how heavy-handed should I say you can be with these, because otherwise the glue might come away. But what I'm going to do is gently curve the tree around the handle. Make sure you curve the snow as well, and then do the same with this one. Okay, and then the little one I'm going to leave little, leave that one flat. So then we will tolerate that. So now we've got this nice curve. We're going to add some foam pads to the back of them to raise them up, because if we put them down with normal glue, they would just flatten out onto the card. So for this, we are going to add foam pads along the back, and I'm going to cut one in half, because what we want is a thin strip of foam so that it just raises the centre and then the sides can be curved down. Because if we cover the back in foam, then again it will just sit flat. So I'm going to do, actually, I think there's room to do two. Let's do one there. One there. And then just room for a little one at the bottom. There we go, so that we can sit that down, but we can keep the curve. So I had a preference of which one I wanted. I think that one, because it's got a more interesting curve, and this one's going to be covered up by the little tree. So again, make sure you're happy that the trunks are covered. So we've got the position of this one. Rescue him. I'll make sure they're covered. So I'll move this away, and then I'm just going to draw with a pen just to mark where the base of each of those are. So I've got something as a reference point to where it's going to go. Stick that down. Peel off the backing of these. Stick that one down. And then we've got the little one in front. So just consider whether, if you want it on top of the tree, then you can do it with wet glue on top, but you might need a bit of foam pad. I think I'm going to need a little bit of foam underneath so it can sit to the side. So I'm just going to cut down a small piece of foam. Just put it on there. And then add some wet glue as well, because it's not, this top bit is going to be on the tree. So again, I've got to leave that for a little bit. And then while we're doing that, I wonder if I've got a preference over which way this goes. Yes, this way. So that's the back. So what we're going to do is add foam pads to the back of all of this front panel. Because it's like the hill and front. Let me just start by putting one on there so I make sure I remember which way round it is. Should be ready to put this on. I'm just going to hold that so that the glue takes. I did put glue on it, didn't I? Catching it. Need to be a bit more patient. So what we're doing is, so we're constructing all of this sort of panel, and then we will attach the lights and attach it to the card. So it's not making it in the usual sort of order, I would say. Maybe I left it too long. Maybe the glue dried. Add some more. It held for the first time. Let me just lay something heavy on it, heavier than that. Right, and then we'll add foam pads to the back of this. So you'll have plenty of foam pads in your kits. It's quite sort of a lengthy process with all these little bits, because this stuff also comes on a roll, like a roll of sellotape, but with foam. So if you have got that, then I'd recommend just putting a couple of strips on for that, because it will be quicker. One there. One there. Let's check on this. It's okay. So then you'll peel off the back of this one. Just going to double check that we're okay to line up. Looks good. And then peel off all the backing bits. I'm making a pile of those. So I've got a pile of paper recycling on this side when we were cutting out, and then this stuff is plasticky, so I put that in the main bin rather than keep all the card for recycling. And then let's place this on here. So again, we're looking to create that even border at the base. And don't worry about the middle because that's quite messy, but that's okay because we're going to be covering that up. There we go. So we've got our igloo. Let's bring our igloo back just to test that out. Right, onto the fun bit. So next we're going to attach the lights to the igloo. And for this, I'm going to loosely attach them with some washi tape, some paper tape first, but it will be covered with foam pads, which are a lot more sticky and a lot stronger. So don't worry if you don't think that the tape's strong enough. We just need it to hold it in place while we're, say, wrangling it into position. It does take a little bit of force to get these to sit in the right place, but once it's done, it's all perfect. So I'm going to just get some get some little bits of this tape ready. I'm just sticking it onto the base of the tripod here so that I've got stuff to hand. I recommend doing that because it's you need your hands. So for these lights, what I loved about it, I didn't know this at the time when I ordered these, but what I love about these LED lights is that the actual bulbs, let me know how well you can see them there, the actual bulbs are shaped like the shape of the bulb in the on the igloo. So what I'm aiming to do is to have them coming out through these holes and then to sit like where the bulbs are. So that means that the wire is coming out of through the hole and then going upwards. But obviously these top two, there's not much space for the wire to then turn around and go back the other way. So that's basically what we need to be doing. So I recommend holding the first one. So it is very flexible wire, but it just does have a mind of its own. I'm just going to make a difference. Start with the one on this side. So I'm just going to push this wire through. Get it into position and then add some tape. And then I'm just going to avoid that tape covering up the hole. So I'm just going to snip it away from that hole. And don't mind if it goes over the edge because we can trim that down. But we just want to make sure we keep the holes clear. And then we're going to take the next one. And poke this one through. Hold it into position. And then add some tape. So at this point you can take both bits of wire, take those down. So I would say the wire is stronger than the washi tape. So that's why we're going to cover it with foam pads as well. But for this, just to get everything in the right place, is quite handy. So then the third one, poke that through the hole. So that tape moved, just checking the bulbs didn't move as well. So this one, and again, I did have the tape ready, and I think for this one I'm going to just tape over the hole and then cut it away. I'm going to peel it back just because if you had like I don't know, a clear tape or white tape, you might be okay just have it there, but this, as this is pink, I will trim it down so it doesn't shine through the hole when the lights aren't on. And then I will move the bit stuck to my fingers, and I will just trim the bits that have gone over the edge. So being very careful to steer clear of the wire. So I'm just going to use my nails to push down around the wires. So right, really happy that they are all in position, looking beautiful. And then we're going to add some foam pads. So we're going to cover the whole back with foam. I'm going to start with, so I think these ones can go over the holes. But what we want to do is make sure that we've got room to maneuver these wires. So take all 3 wires and just, I'll say gently, but quite forcefully, twist them down so that they're coming down to the centre of the igloo. And then you can keep adding foam pads. Let's go. On there. So add foam pads to base as well. Now I'm just going to put cut one in half to go in that gap there. That under control. Wonderful. So now we've got that, all those wires under control for there. What we're going to do is post the battery pack through the front of the card, through that hole we've made. And I'm just going to I've just got a little bit of foam tape on my finger which is sticking to things. That off. So then just test out your positioning, that you're happy that where the wires are coming out there's enough space to cover where you want the igloo to go. That looks good. All that planning at the start, you see. And then take off the backing of the foam pads. I've got some that are going over the top of each other, so let me just manoeuvre out those. One more, and then letting that fall through the gap, then we can position this. Beautiful. So we'll gently turn it around. So there we have. So we've got the sticky pads there, so we need to be careful that it's going to stick to whatever it does. And then what we want to do, we're not finished our wire wrangling yet. We need to arrange the wire onto the back of this blue panel so that we end up with the button in this corner. Obviously if it's lending itself to a different corner, that's absolutely fine. We just want to have the press here button somewhere reasonable, not like halfway in the sky or something. So I'm going to, and just because I keep forgetting with my head, I'm just going to make a mark roughly where it will be, where I want to aim it for, and I can turn this round and I can start to bend the wire so that the button ends up there. So that on the battery pack is a little red button. I'll place that there and then bend the wire. That's where we want it to be. So in a similar fashion for this, I'm going to tape some down. I've got some, actually I'm going to use some bigger bits of tape. Tape it down initially, and then we're going to cover the back in foam tape. as well. Foam pads, because I haven't got my tape with me, but if you have got tape, I recommend it's a lot quicker and easier with foam tape. No. Just going to stick that down just to encourage it to stay where it should. But like I say, the wire is stronger than the washi tape. So I don't expect it to hold it down. There we go. And then right to foam pads. So what you can do at this stage, actually I think I'm okay. I think that's holding it down. Is to add a little bit of glue. Obviously you can't use a wet glue. If you've got like double-sided tape, you can put it on the top. For the this orange section is actually sticky, so we will peel that off at the end. But it doesn't help us clear it to the other side just yet. So let's add some foam tape to these. If you've got foam tape, you've probably got time to go and get an extra couple of biscuits while you're waiting on a mince pie, while I just load this up. I'd say if you had foam tape, you could probably get away with one, maybe 5 strips across the back, and just avoid the battery. So you're going to leave that so that the depth of that is the same as the foam pads. I'll say actually, if you've got foam pads, you might want to add 2 layers because it's quite thick. Right. I'm impatient. I want to cover up the wires. So I think that the DIY kits, if you've got they all come with a large sheet. I think maybe 1.5 sheets. I can't remember how much I put in. But I'm just using up the odds and sods of bits of foam sheets as well. I've got so many little ones. I'm just going to put one across there to hold those wires down. It's like some kind of modern art piece with the foam pads going round and round. Right, and then I'm going to cut, I'm just going to put a thin strip around the outside of this because there is the gap where the top of the battery pack isn't stuck down. That will just help keep this corner down. There we go. So my next challenge for this card is to design a card sort of design or structure that means that we can actually access the the block to change the battery. But no, so not. Actually, saying that, before we commit to sticking this down, we'll do another check on the battery. Yay, that works. Just in case you've knocked it or upset it in any way while you've been manoeuvring it, because it's actually our last chance to change the battery. And then I think we're ready to start peeling off all those on the back. So once we peel it off, we'll add it to the front of the card. So you've got your card blank in your kit. It's got my logo on the back, so just make sure it's the right way around. Yours does come folded, but I'll keep mine flat. And then let's remove all of these. I'll try and do it in some kind of system because it's difficult to tell which ones are done and not done without your fingers stuck to them. So peel off all the backing. Okay, nearly there. My tentative touching ones that I think I've done. I don't want to get stuck to them. So once you've got all of that, last one, and then you can peel off the orange backing off the battery pack as well. Okay, and it's got a sticky panel on. And then we're going to stick it onto the front of the card, aiming for a nice even white border all the way around. There we go. Beautiful. And then we'll just test the yay. So you got an idea of where that is. Wonderful. That's solid. There you are, stuck down. So let's add the finishing touches. So I'll tell you what we need. So if you put your press here button, so there's a bit of there's quite a large area that will react, so you can just check that where you want it to be, check that if you press it, it is in the right place. And I'm going to add that on with some, apologies, some wet glue on there. Just let that dry slightly before I put it on, because it's very, this glue stays wet for a long time, so it would slide off. But I'm impatient, so I'm going to go ahead. Make sure that's the right way up. Lovely. And then with the penguins, we're going to get the wooden spoon again, and we're going to curve the penguins on the wooden spoon from head to tail. Gives it a nice 3D look. There we go. And the little one. So nice and gentle. It's a nice thick card, but gentle, so you don't get any creases. And again, we're going to add some foam pads to the middle line of the penguin, but test out where you want him to go first. That's stuck. Because the igloo is already quite raised up, so you won't necessarily need a foam pad behind his head. I think I'm going to put them there. So I'm going to put one foam pad behind his head and then two behind the body, so that I'm matching the sort of step behind him, and then we'll come back and work out the baby penguin. Oh, I've already got some strips here ready. That's handy. So I said one behind the head and two behind the body, didn't I? That is too long. So rather than trying to cut it in midair, I'm going to put that back on the backing sheet and then cut it in half. So I'm going to peel off that layer first and then add the second layer on his body. Okay, and then peel that off. Add him on. Try and get to that where the step is. There we go. And let's have a look at this little guy. So I think he's not going to be on the igloo at all. So we just need to put 1, maybe 2 behind him, because obviously this penguin's on 2. Oh, wrong scissors. I'm going to keep my sticky scissors for jobs like this. So yeah, just adding it to the back. I feel like I'm racing through this now, but so I've curved the penguin and added the foam pad along the back, so that we keep that curve going. And I'm going to peel off the backing of 1 layer and then add the 2nd layer. So if you are posting, this card, you're going to put it will probably go over the thickness of the card. So one, I'd probably recommend maybe even sending it as part of a parcel in a box, as opposed to straight in the envelope, or hand delivering it. Maybe save this card for just the special people that you're going to see in person over Christmas. So add him onto there. Oh, he's looking so cute. Wonderful. And then the last bit is the greeting. So you've got season greeting. It's going to sit on this side. What I've done is I've lined it up so that it matches the edge of the blue mount. I quite like that as an effect. But there's different heights again. So I'm going to stick it flush onto the white card, but I'm going to make sure I don't put any glue on this bit, because it can just hang over the edge. It doesn't need any foam because it's quite small. But I'm just going to make sure I don't put any glue at this end. Put some wet glue on there. Just going to let that cure for a little bit. And then I'm going to glue this on here. So I have a little white gap along the base and line it up with there. That's wonderful. And that's actually a stamp. So if you're planning ahead, you could actually have it stamped on the white snowy hill if you've got the stamps instead. But this is the way of making a card. So let me just fold this. And I'll turn this on so we can see the beautiful lights. There we have it. That's the light up igloo design. So we've made it in white today, but it's also available in the craft version. So the snow is with cream card instead. So it's a nice sort of more sort of rustic look to the card. I like that one as well. Thank you ever so much for joining me. If you have enjoyed watching this video demo, there are many others on my YouTube channel, and there's lots of all the designs you see. There's a DIY kit for you to make the cards at home, or there's always the stamps instead. If you've got loads of supplies and card stock already at home, then the stamps, you can use that to complement all those bits and pieces. And feel free to recreate the designs. I'd love to see what you make. I'm here to inspire you. So if you want to follow the same structure with different stamps, feel free and just let me know. You can either tag me on Instagram. My handle is @DellaByDesign, or you can reach out on Facebook. My page is Della by Design as well. Or if you prefer to email me, you can email pictures of what you make to della@dellabydesign.co.uk. And if you would love to make this card, if you have a look in the description, there's a link in there to my online shop where you can order the kits or the stamps to make it yourself. Have a lovely time creating your lovely Christmas cards. Thank you ever so much for watching along live. Get in touch. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.